Women in Business. I am so excited. I say excited because we just saw each other, so like I'm happy that we've been spending time together now. But really, I am excited to support and talk to my very good friend Lauren Kelly, who is also my tarot reader, and she's an intuitive, and her business is Digitarot, and she's gonna give us a little bit of insight on what she does, because for me, I get my readings done. But I can't always explain to other people like the laws of the universe and why, these are amazing for me.
Thanks. Yeah. So, hey, I'm Lauren Kelly. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me. WCW. It's an honor. I watch them all the time on Instagram. My business is mostly run through Instagram. So it's called Digitarot, like digital tarot. And I do tarot readings texted. So I do it all remotely. There's no appointment. You don't have to book a time. I simply get your request, do the reading, and then I text it to you within a few days. And I've learned a lot about how it works and why it works, and we can get into that more. But,
yeah. So why does that work?
So I've learned that I'm able to tap into others' energy remotely. Like you don't have to necessarily be in person, at least I don't, to sense into someone else's energy. I believe most of us have this capability too. It just might be stronger for some people than others. And so between being able to sense into it, I have to be in like a very quiet space usually. And because it's through Instagram, like people know I can see their Instagram. So I see photos, which helps, and get a feel for them. And so I use seeing the photos, tapping into their energy, and then the cards for me are like a validation or an affirmation of usually what I'm already feeling. So it's not necessarily like the cards tell me something I don't know, but it helps me go even further with my initial instinct.
Okay. So the how it works, Lauren's gonna do a brief mini reading with me. Frankie thinks that this is crazy because it's personal. It is very personal, but I'm very comfortable. We've done it, before, and I'm always enlightened by it. I find insight in these readings. Sometimes I'm looking for like what direction or just a different perspective, if you will. So we can get into my reading for our WCW Women in Business crush today.
Sounds good. Do you have an idea of what you want me to hone in on? Like,
let's do business.
Okay, perfect. And this deck is called the Omni Tarot deck. I don't know if I haven't usually, like with you, I usually use the Fountain deck.
Okay.
This is a newer one. Okay. Olivia Healey, she's an artist. And that's something that I love about these too. It's like so many of these decks are made by independent artists.
Okay.
And if you think about it, there's 76 cards in most decks, so it's like 76 little pieces of art that they have to make, It's pretty big.
And then all of them, how do you read them? Well, they'll say on there what it is, but you're reading the picture as well.
Yeah, so even though like there's all kinds of different, art for each card, it works similarly to like a deck of cards. With every deck of cards, there's the numbers, the suits. So it's the same with tarot. The framework, like the bones of it, is the same deck to deck to deck. But the interpretation that the artist does, like with the art they choose, is slightly different.
Okay.
And then I said usually 76 because some decks have, like the Fountain deck that I had, they added one extra card called the Fountain card. And it was like represented infinity. Okay. So sometimes they'll throw in, an extra card or two. But I'm going to shuffle them. It's very dramatic.
It's very dramatic.
I like it. Cool. So this is, with these it's cool because several of the readings that I've done for you and with you, we have done in person,
Right.
Usually I do them remotely, like I said, but for you in person. Okay, so we're going to do a reading on your career. Let's see, what's coming to me is to do like, where have you been, where are you now, and where are you headed, and what's a helpful affirmation or focus for you in this time. Does that sound okay?
That sounds great.
Okay, So first, we will do, where has Lisa been? Her career. Emperor. Where is she now? 3 of Wands. Look at those tall boots. Where is she headed? Don't worry, this is not scary. This is good.
Okay.
What's a helpful focus, next step, mantra for you in this time? Beautiful. Okay. So, let's see here. All right, so we got the first card, where have you been? I'll hold it up. I don't know if we've got Zoom here, but you can zoom in at all. But the Emperor is where you've been. And the Emperor represents structured control. So what I sense about this is like you have created a business which has had a lot of structure. You've had a great sense of control over it, especially in more recent times. And it's almost like starting to run itself a little bit because you have these structures and these frameworks. So the Emperor, again, it's very much about structure. So you've created a lot of the foundation. You've been able to build upon this. It doesn't mean that it's been completely,
right.
It's business, right? And you're an entrepreneur, which is never, no 2 days are the same. But there's a sense of structure that you've been able to create with it. So where are you now? The 3 of Wands. 3s represent new developments. And Wands are all about action, passion. It's a very fiery energy. And you can see here in this card, she's like moving forward, almost like using these like, they almost look like walking sticks or something, like just moving forward. She's got on these tall red boots, almost like a witchy sort of hat. So you've been in this sort of stable, like it's kind of funny, even in yoga, this squat is considered like a very stable, still structured position, but where you're headed, where you are now is like, okay, I'm moving forward in a new way. Where you're headed this is the Death card, and I said, don't worry, it's not scary, because death represents the end of a cycle. So this is like a number one question I get. People will say, what if I get the Death card? And you didn't even flinch, so good job. Because people are scared that, like, I'm going to tell them they're going to die or something. I don't know that. Like, no one knows. I believe in free will and choice. But in the context of your career, where you're headed is there's an end of an era in a sense, and I'm privy to some of knowing what you're starting to focus on more and more. And so it's really cool to me that shows up as where you're headed. It's the end of a cycle, which means the rebirth of something new. And that's very much in the collective right now too. So then a helpful focus or next step, I love this card, the Hermit Card. Yes. I think you should hold that one. So the Hermit, it's like this beautiful woman on this lotus, like meditation cushion looking thing. She's got these flowers blossoming from within her. And so with this one, it was, a focus for you right now. And the Hermit, if you think about like hermit crab or like, when we say so-and-so's a hermit, it's about really hermiting, like going inward, taking some quiet time, getting clear, really listening to your inner voice. So that's the focus, as you're working, knowing that this death cycle, this new, completion, this end of an era is coming. It's important for you now to just get really clear and quiet. And so, my recommendation would be to carve that into your day if you haven't already, even if it's like 5 minutes in the morning or something like that. And as far as like a mantra or an affirmation, I'll sit with that and see what pops up. Because I like to give people like one quote or something that they can hold on to, and take away. Because it can be a lot to digest.
Right, and then this was like a mini speed, like we sped through it, and but I get the gist, of course, because we've done this many times before, but with your clients, you do have more time to sit with what you're sharing with them, and even just this much, and just understanding tarot and and having this experience before, like, which is why when Frankie was like, are you going to do this on, on camera? And, I'm comfortable doing that because, regardless, I didn't say like, had I been more personal, I could have said, tell me about my love life.
Sure. Right.
And where that's headed and where it is and where it's been. But for business, I think it's something that we all can, and you said for the collective. So when you said that in terms of end of a cycle and you said this is something for the collective, you mean like what's going on currently?
Absolutely. I mean, so I follow a lot of, I love all this kind of stuff, all this metaphysical stuff, astrology, tarot, and a number of other subjects. But I really pay attention. I get this like monthly report from an astrologer I really like. And what's happening right now, what just happened over the last couple of weeks, like small scale, is we've been in this eclipse window and there was a full moon, and it was a time of a lot of eclipses. The eclipse and the full moon combined together, it was a time of really releasing and simultaneously like shining light on what we need to release. And so that's kind of the hermit thing too. It's like you go inward, you get clear on what you need to release, and then and I don't think I also believe you don't have to like actively do anything. It's just acknowledging it and noticing it. And so collectively as well, we're really shifting. We've been in this Piscean era for like 2,000 years, and we're shifting into the Aquarian age. And this happens it's like about, I guess, every 2,000 years or something. So it's a huge shift, and it takes like, I think it's 36 years to actually transition. So like all of us that are here right now on this planet are going through this major transition together. And with that comes death of a lot of things, and sadly there's obviously been some literal death with COVID and, the crisis that was, which is terrifying. And on the other side of that coin is a sense of rebirth and renewal and new ways of doing things and new ways of business.
It certainly has been.
Yeah.
For all of us.
I know, right? Yeah.
For all of us.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, really thank you for sharing. Frankie's looking forward to having her reading, so she's over here, patiently waiting. But if you want to follow Lauren on Instagram, and I suggest that you do and just check it out, at least, if nothing else, the daily oracles and some of the things that you share. And, even before you picked this up as your path, you have always been this intuitive, and before you decided this was the direction that you want to follow and where you were led, you were always that person. So it seemed like perfect, and it was like, oh, this makes sense, because I'd always be coming to you saying, what does this mean? Or what about this eclipse? Or what about this full moon or this new moon? What do you think I should do? Or what should I do for the moon? Rituals, all types of things that you've always shared, and I've always been comfortable going to you for things, or even just my daily inspiration sometimes, when we're spending days together.
Thank you.
So follow Lauren.
Thank you.
She's an amazing woman, and I appreciate you for coming for WCW today.
Thank you, and I appreciate you so much. You make me feel equally comfortable to wear things that I wouldn't normally wear.
Amazing.
Which we'll have to tell more about that.
That experience is going to be something to talk about, and I appreciate you sharing that with me on Saturday. That really made my day.
Yeah.
You and Ben. So thank you for sitting with us, and please support my friend.
Thanks for having me.